Welcome back, everybody. It is February 4th, Thursday, coming out of Studio 44. This is the Paul Rodriguez Show. Lots of quarterback talk here early on. Brett Favre stirring up the pot a little bit. James, the resident Packer fan. Brett Favre, I don't know what he's doing, man. You think he's fucking up some deals right now for Deshaun Watson?
I think he's trying to just stay relevant.
But don't you think he would be staying relevant? I think he would.
Yeah.
So Brett Favre in the news wanted to, I guess, contribute to Super Bowl week with not much going on. A lot of the storylines are pretty, dull right now. But Brett Favre did come out and he was talking to Yahoo Sports and he kind of chimed in about what he thought about the situation. And I'm going to go ahead and read it to you real quick. Quote, this is Brett Favre talking about the Deshaun Watson trade. You get paid a ton of money to do a certain job and just do it and let the chips fall where they may. I think we make too much money to voice an opinion, which he's voicing an opinion right now. But I'm not saying he's wrong, Deshaun Watson being wrong. Again, I think it's a different day and time, and it'll be interesting to see how the organization handles it. Well, obviously, the organization, and that being the Houston Texans, have handled it pretty damn poorly with, having the stooge Billy O'Brien in there just completely throwing trades for players and, who not really getting a whole lot of value back with D-Hop and Johnson, the running back. So I was kind of remiss a little bit to see this quote come on. And with you being the Packer fan and Favre being the former Packer great, is Brett Favre stirring the pot, or is just Brett Favre maybe just putting out a story so people like us to kind of pick up? You think this is nonsense, or do you think he really feels that they really do get paid too much? And in this quote, it doesn't seem like he's trying to say Deshaun's the bad guy. I think he's more of saying that, do your job and let the management figure it out. That's kind of how I'm interpreting it. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, Brett being Brett. Where did that come from? From Twitter, or did he? I mean, it had to be right.
He did an interview with Yahoo Sports. I'm pretty sure
okay.
because it's Super Bowl week and there's no media row down in Tampa right now, so they may have done a lot of things virtually, and so Yahoo Sports got this. And I mean, with the nasty ongoing lack of communication in Houston right now, and it being such a shit show, I'm pretty sure the question was probably baited a little bit for Brett to give his opinion. Of course, he fell for it. And now it's the hottest thing, we're kind of talking about in today's media. So I don't know why Brett thought it would be a good idea to talk about it. And then maybe he was, maybe a little under the influence. I mean, I'm not saying he was, but I'm just saying maybe he was. But to give, doesn't it sound like he's on the fence? He's like, I don't want to be the bad guy and say you make a lot of money, but at the same time, so I want to be, the elder statesman and say, shame on you for, requesting a trade when, this organization gave you so much. And it's like, well, what the hell did the organization give back to Deshaun?
Yeah.
No targets. I mean, no deep threats. I mean, Fuller is there sometimes if he doesn't pull his hamstring, and JJ's, surely on the back end of his career. You sent D-Hop packing. You have no running back. Your offensive line is depleted. Laramie Tunsil has not done anything to protect Deshaun. And still, Deshaun was the leading NFL passer this year, and they 4-12.
Yeah.
When last year they were competing with Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to potentially go to the AFC Conference Champion.
It seems like they're like, oh, that was fun. Let's just go back down to being a shit team,
And this kind of reminds me of something I hear a lot with the really good teams, and like there's about 8 or 10 solid teams that you really have to compete with in the NFL, although there are 32 organizations. And Houston is just another one of those bottom dwellers. You really thought they would have picked things up, being consistently in the AFC South Championship conversation, being in the playoffs, year in, year out. And you have a guy like Deshaun who is going to, let's put it this way, whatever team Deshaun goes to, they're going to be, depending on where he goes, if he goes to San Francisco, they're going to win. In the next 5 years, they'll win 2 Super Bowls.
with that much talent, with Shanahan calling the plays. And if he goes to the Jets, they're going to compete for the NFC or the AFC East title probably every year until Bill Belichick gets a competent quarterback. I mean, I know, Josh Allen is up there with the Buffalo Bills, but Deshaun Watson just makes your team so much more dynamic. Yeah. And Brett Favre, I don't know what you were thinking, bud. I mean, did the copper fit get a little too tight maybe on his wrist or in his ankles or something? I mean, I don't know, but that just seems like he's kind of trying to give a safe quote, but it backfired on him.
So, I mean, just because, they make a lot of money, he just, do what the Texans say. Like, you got to be happy as a player. And obviously, especially if you're, the franchise quarterback, you're not going to be happy if they're just, overstepping you all the time to bring in, you're not consulting.
It sounds like it would by Deshaun's action. And, like, Deshaun's a great dude. Like, I mean, he grew up with nothing. His family was gifted a home by work done in Habitat for Humanity, and he's done everything right. Like, when Harvey hit in Houston, he was donating his game checks to the cafeteria staff who were supporting the team and I'm sure they're probably making meals for everybody in the Houston area, but he was donating his checks as a rookie to like help these people out so that they could be self-sufficient. And, now people want to talk about Deshaun this and Deshaun that. And it's like, look, man, I think you're a little bit misguided if you're Brett Favre in this instance. And it kind of seems like in the quote, he probably realized what he said. And that's why I got like on the fence and trying to walk it back mid-quote. And it's like, you can't do it like that, especially if you don't know. And it's, maybe he had his agent with him and his agent kind of leaned over and gave him the look like, dude, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about right now.
I know like multiple friends that are just so frustrated with the organization.
Yeah, they should Texans. Be.
Yeah. One of my friends, he's like, I'm done. He's like, I'm a free agent right now. I'm looking for a home.
I sent a tweet. Let me see if I can find that tweet that I sent. And this is exactly the time. This came out from my personal Twitter, and I was upset enough to the point where I was like angry, and the first thing that like popped into my brain was like, Robert McNair, Cal McNair's father, has to be rolling over in his grave. Like, R.I.P. Bob McNair, but you have to literally be absolutely disgusted with how things are being handled right now. And I don't think it's Cal McNair's fault. I think Cal McNair has trusted the wrong people to run his organization right now. And I just straight up said, I said, at Houston Texans, your decision-making is poor. You have lost two future, and I tagged Pro Football Hall of Fame in DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson. Now you've lost a fan. Hashtag Cal McNair. Your father would be disappointed. The city of tagged Houston, Texas deserve better. Hashtag NFL. Hashtag Houston Texans. That's the true sense, I think, of how people are feeling with the ongoing escapades with Deshaun Watson. And it seems like your buddies feel the same way.
Is that what Brett Favre should have said?
Maybe what I think Brett Favre probably has the connections to Mississippi. He probably has connections to Green Bay and Wisconsin, and he may just not understand. Or maybe that little theology is getting in the way of his decision making, just like it's getting in the way of Cal McNair. Now, nothing against religious folks and all, but you cannot base your decision making on business with your theology. You're gonna make a mistake along the way, and right now you have totally ruined the relationship with a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Yep. And you've already thrown another one away with D-Hop. And it's sadly, it's like grossly erroneous for them to kind of continue to do business and bring in people like Dave Culley. And Dave Culley's a great guy. He's a great coach, came over from Baltimore. But you're putting him in the hornet's nest. Same thing with Cesare, the GM. It's like you're hiring guys to say yes to your decision-making, not to challenge your decision-making. When you're trying to bring in folks who may not have the best decision-making with building an organization. Maybe they're great at saying yes, but they're not going to win a championship Super Bowl winning team. And if you're not in the business to do that, then you don't deserve any fans. And it sounds like those fans are having an exodus right now.
What do you think goes on with J.J. Watt? Is he out?
it makes sense for the Texans to cut him just to save the cap room. And so with him, he'll probably be cut whenever it's the proper time to make that. It may be right when the new league year begins, or maybe before the new league year begins, to save that cap hit. And with him moving forward, JJ, if he was smart, I'd go chase a ring. And I don't know where that's going to be. Is it going to be in Pittsburgh with his brothers? Would it be him being a third down specialist in Kansas City? Those sound pretty good to me. And if I was him, I would go to a place where I know he's going to be competing for a title. And maybe that's Tampa as well. I mean, you could take benefit with the no in-state taxes like he does in Texas. But I'm telling you, man, that allure of playing in Pittsburgh, playing with his brothers, they're not that far away if they can manage Big Ben's arm. And I think that's the biggest challenge for them to do right now, because Big Ben's arm after week 12, it just fell off. I mean, they were hot. They were undefeated. Week 12 comes, you get beat by Washington football team. Now, they were a good team, don't get me wrong. But they're not better than the Steelers. Man, what a opening minute there we had. I was just so hopped up on Brett Favre. I just couldn't believe that he would have such poor judgment. And what the hell was he thinking?
Maybe that's what he wanted to be, a segment on someone's show.
He was a segment on a lot of people's show. It's just like, and then have you heard about Andrew Luck?
No.
So allegedly there were some text messages that got leaked out with him.
Once you say allegedly, it doesn't sound good,
bro. Some messages with Andrew's wife and her best friend, and saying Andrew's gonna meet with Jim, and the friend's like, Jim who? Jimmy with the Colts. Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts. So there was a follow-up interview that's going to premiere, I think, before the Super Bowl with Jim Irsay and one of the local sports guys in Indianapolis, saying that one soundbite, we'll just kind of give a quick quote before we take a break, is Jim was asked the straight questions like, is Andrew coming back? And Jim went out and definitively said, Andrew is more retired now than he was when he initially retired a few years ago, or a couple years ago. And he's trying to put that to bed, but that's gonna live in some people's minds, especially with Matt Stafford going out west. And now the Colts are left with, who are they left with? Carson Wentz. You get Deshaun to Indy. Think about Deshaun in Indianapolis in division. Trade.
That's what my buddy said. He was like, anywhere but fucking Indy. I fucking hate the Colts. I was like,
why does he hate the Colts? Because they were good for so long?
He's a Texans fan.
I thought he left. I thought he was out.
Yeah, true.
Apparently he hasn't left.
It goes to show where his heart is.
Man, and it's got to be so damn hard. And you know what? All the Houston Texan fans, welcome to what the Dallas Cowboys have been living with for the past 25 years. Yeah. Welcome aboard the mediocrity train. All right, guys, we're going to take a break real quick. When we come back from break, we're going to go ahead and dip in a little bit of recruiting in the Austin area. Yesterday was a big day. Today we have a few more offers that were coming out. Later on tonight, if you're going to stay up late, I'll be joining the boys at Flex ATX on the Horn 104.9 at about 9 p.m. to do a quick segment on the recap of the National Signing Day for all of those wonderful young people, boys and girls sports. So that'll be something we'll highlight there on the Horn 104.9. Shout out Flex and Snoop and Lucero and Hogan. We'll see y'all soon, fellas. But let's go take a break real quick. Get you a snack, use the bathroom, do what you got to do. We'll be back in about 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that break. I hope everybody had a time to get things in order, but let's go ahead and kick things off with our recruiting big news coming out today. Del Valle wide receiver Braylon James, class of 23. So that means next year he'll only be a junior. He's already received multiple offers from the U, from Illinois State University. But over the past 2 days, he's picked up offers from UTSA as well as the Colorado Buffaloes out of the Pac-12. One thing about this young man, 4-star recruit rated by the Recon Athlete, his route running I think is just purely tremendous. I think that's a name to surely watch as we move forward. And if the Del Valle Cardinals sound familiar to you, and that's just because the number 1 overall receiver prospect, the 5-star receiver in Caleb Burton, son of head coach Charles Burton, is there with him. And Braylon James was actually coming over from Stony Point. And so now you have those two types of receivers going up in that 6A division, or 6A, 25-6A, excuse me. And God, those guys are just really great. And as soon as they get them a solid quarterback to distribute the ball, I think is going to be really monumental for them. In addition to the other Del Valle Cardinal, Caleb Brown, who is the inside linebacker for Del Valle. He's also a 3-star recruit rated by Recon Athlete, has also received an offer from the University of Texas. And one big thing to highlight for Caleb is that the guy's got the skills in the classroom. Big brain. He's already been offered by Boston College, that private school up north. And so for him to get that offer is really monumental. Another guy I want to also highlight real quick is the guy we talked about yesterday, Bray Lynch, 3-star offensive lineman at Westlake, offered by Oklahoma State. In addition, another Big 12 offer is going to be locked up by Connor Robertson, the offensive guard for Westlake. One-time state title ring holder, has been picked up and offered by Nebraska. So big news coming out for those young people. The smaller schools using all their national letters of intent that they received in the past couple of days. And so they're kind of getting all those things ordered, in line to get ordered. So if, the recruiting kind of slows down a little bit, that's kind of going to be the reason why. And James, I think you had some questions that we were talking about a little bit before the show started, and I wanted you to share those with everybody once we got to this point in the show.
About the recruits?
Yeah.
I forgot what my damn question was. It wasn't about the intent, the letters of
right.
National Signing Day.
Yeah,
and how often that occurs.
Right, you were asking about how often that occurs, and I was telling James that the big day is February 3rd, usually the first Wednesday of February, but there's also another day in the month of December, which is the last Wednesday, where you can sign early. And there are a lot of times where those individuals are signing early so that they can kind of get on campus to the university and get things going so that they can participate in spring ball. And a lot of times the young people want to do that surely for the fact that they want to compete. They're trying to earn that starting role as soon as they can, due to the fact that their skill set is already kind of have them far enough along so that they can compete. But, if you want to wait and you want to enjoy your, spring of your senior year, go to prom. I don't know. You think there's going to be prom this year? There wasn't last year.
I think so.
I mean, that really doesn't coincide with, 6 feet apart and all that.
I feel like the majority of people are tired of the pandemic and everybody's trying to go forward.
Bro, what about takes all of us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in high school, so don't ask me.
You're not worried about it, is what you're saying.
I did have a question. What is the high school life for quarterbacks that are like, they're bound to NFL, like Drew Brees was my first that came to mind, going to Westlake, right? Mm-hmm. What is the high school life for him? Like, are you well known around town already? Like, do you hang out with your friends, go to movies on the weekends? Of course not now because of the pandemic, but is like, how does that work?
That's a really good question. Because I'm always on social media, kind of monitoring what's all going on, and you just see, like, if you really want to get a good sense of it, there's a couple of places you can follow. Flex ATX is a good place to kind of see the lifestyle of the high school athletes, and yeah, they're going about their business just like every other team. The only difference is they may have a blue check mark next to their Instagram, or they may have a blue check next to their Twitter. And, anybody can get the blue check once, that platform approves you, so to speak. And it's kind of business as usual. I think a lot of times, people may have gotten caught up in the hype, like when Johnny Manziel was at A&M. I think it's a little bit different. Everybody's an adult. I think in high school there's a lot more structure involved. But for a high-profile quarterback, and we'll use Cade Klubnik as an example because he's already a 5-star recruit who's won 2 state championships, and he hasn't even, it's not even his senior year yet, which will be next year. I mean, people are going to know who he is. The young kids are going to wear, the number 6 jersey. Like, I'm pretty sure the young people were wearing the number 9 jersey when Drew Brees was in high school. And how fans as adults, like fans, men who are fans of the NFL, you may wear your favorite player's jersey. Well, the young people, like the little kids who may be in elementary school, they're going to wear their favorite high school player's jersey. And so it's nothing probably that's going to be uncomfortable, but people are definitely going to know you. You're probably going to go and still hang out with your buddies and everything, but there's going to be probably more put on your plate whenever you're preparing for games and whenever you're probably going through game time. And you may not play as many sports. You may only be a football player. You may not play basketball or baseball. But if you're outside of the quarterback position, yeah, you're probably going to play multiple sports. It's not going to be that much different. But as far as lifestyle, I think it's pretty similar. There's not going to be a big bunch of changes. Definitely nothing like how Johnny Manziel was on the campus of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we've gone through probably 2 segments here. We're probably going to take another break here momentarily. But one thing I wanted to share with everybody, if you're enjoying this content, if you want somebody else to know about it, please like and subscribe and share those with those folks. We're going to take a break here in about 2 minutes. James, what's those WandaVision? Have you watched another episode, or what were you doing last night? You were telling me.
Yeah, I did I've been doing Facebook gaming, so I have a game stream where, the traditional layout is the video game, full screen, and then there's a little square where you can see me playing. And
you got that virtual reality is what you're doing?
No,
virtual reality.
I wish.
I mean, they're talking about like serious virtual reality. Like, I mean, you kind of like walking in different rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little. It's is it like first person or
yeah,
what is it?
Like first person shooter is what I like playing, but I'm trying to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So tonight I'll probably be playing something that it's like a survival type game. So you're dropped, and I've never played this before. I've seen the trailer. You're dropped. You have it's like a Castaway type thing.
Okay.
So you're in an airplane, you crash, you're left on an island. You got to learn skills. You eventually got to escape the island. So I'll be doing that tonight.
Word. I'll be talking to Snoop at 9, and then I don't know what I'm doing after that. But I don't know. I've been doing a little bit of digging in these prop bets.
Oh, okay.
Rob Gronkowski, bro, is like plus 340. So that basically means if you bet $100 or if you bet $10, you'll make $34.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 100 is 340.
Yeah. Just gonna leave y'all with that, folks. We'll talk a little bit more about those coming back. In our next segment, we're gonna be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs defense versus Tom the GOAT Brady. We'll be back.
Welcome back, everybody. Kind of getting started back with this third segment. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Have you eaten dinner, James?
Yes.
Would you if you had like the perfect meal, like what are you starting with?
The perfect meal.
Yeah.
I've been into shrimp lately, man.
Really?
Yeah, shrimp. And I never was like growing up because I'm not into seafood. I don't like things that look like they are alive. Like for example, like lobster, like it looks like a lobster. A burger doesn't look like a cow.
Well, how does a lobster without its head or claws look like a lobster?
You never eat, I mean, I've seen people put like a whole lobster on the fucking plate,
Man, that's some high end dining right there. I've never seen that right there. Or shrimps. Like, I'm not eating a shrimp that has like, if it has the tail, that's one thing. But if it has like the legs and the head and like, nah.
Yeah.
Like crawfish, I don't do nothing with grilled crawfish.
Crawfish.
You like crawfish?
No.
Yeah, neither do I.
It's. I mean, it looks like it should be out swimming in the sea, and then it's a lot of work too. So we tried crab. This food truck that goes around. I forgot the name of it, but hashtag no ad. We got some I think it was crab, and I had to YouTube how to properly eat a crab because I had never
break it down and everything.
Yes, and it's work.
Yeah, it is work,
but it is good. It is good. I liked it.
I'm not. I like seafood, but I'm very I'm very basic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like calamari, fried calamari, frozen out of a bag, and then shrimp. I'm good with that. Yeah. That's about how basic I am. But the reason I brought up the food was because I knew you were going to talk about seafood, and with the game being in Tampa on the coastline. Fun fact: I don't know if you heard this, but a couple of days ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facilities had reported that they're not going to fire the cannon after every time they score. So they were talking about how they want to conform as best they can to the NFL guidelines to create a natural or a neutral site environment. And I really don't know how you do that with that big ass pirate ship in one of their end zones. And they're like, oh, well, we'll not fire the cannons. I'm like, well, what are you going to do with that big ass eyesore over there? I mean, it's still not going anywhere. Are you going to put a tarp over it? Yeah, I don't think so. Tom Brady scoring touchdowns, I think, is going to be the biggest talk about for the next couple of days moving forward. Before we left, we talked about how Gronk is going to be a plus 340 prop bet, and that basically means if you bet $100, you'll make 340. And I don't know if Tom is going to have enough time with that defensive front bearing down on him with Frank Clark and Chris Jones. It's something that you kind of see schematically where they're going to do everything in their power to get him off his perch. And, we've seen, especially against the Green Bay Packers, and when we saw this in Week 12 against the Kansas City Chiefs, when you can get pressure off the edge, if you're going to bring Tyrann Mathieu off the edge, if they're in a man-to-man situation, they're gonna play games up front. And if you don't know what a game is, that's where the left end or the right end and the interior tackle are going to cross and kind of cause a distraction for the offensive lineman to gain an advantage over them to get as much pressure on Tom Brady when possible. And I think that's the only thing that you can really do to distract him. He doesn't like people in his feet. I mean, 43 years old. Hell, I'm 37 years old, and I don't like when people hit me, so I'm pretty sure Tom Brady doesn't want anybody around him or his feet. And we all know with him being the GOAT, he's going to cry, bitch, and complain if he does get a hand on him, which I think he deserves that when you're playing in your 10th Super Bowl and you've won 6 of them, trying to win a 7th. I think you're owed that little courtesy by the officials. But with that being said, I really like Kansas City Chiefs defense to put a lot of pressure on Tom Brady, and especially, I mean, if you have to cover Kelsey and you have to cover Tyreek Hill day to day, and then in addition, like as an offensive or as a defensive lineman, you're trying to get to Patrick Mahomes, who I was watching a highlight today where the linebacker Milford for the Buffalo Bills literally got shook when he was rushing Mahomes. He got shook. He was able to close the distance, had his hands around Mahomes' waist, and the upper body and core strength for Mahomes was able to deliver a strike to Kelsey over the middle. That, those types of highlights you see and you're like,
what the hell are the linebackers for the Buccaneers going to be able to do to slow down Mahomes? And then conversely, when you look at the NFC Championship game where the Green Bay Packers are sending pressure off the edge with their DBs, and Tom is literally throwing the ball as far as he can, looking away so he doesn't get popped. That's how those picks came. And I think the more you're going to be able to push Tom Brady to move or get pressure or hurry the ball up, he's just going to throw it up in a prayer, and hopefully his guys go get it. Now, he's got the athletes to go get the ball, but at the same time, if you're pressuring Brady and you're not getting there, but you're getting close to disrupt his rhythm, that's going to pay dividends later on, I think, in the game as they move forward. And I just don't see Mahomes being shook mentally. Now, when I say shook mentally, I mean hurrying up his throwing ability, because Tom's going to get the ball out quick, and I think they know that. It's just, will that pressure, will the man-to-man pressure be able to stick, and will those DBs be able to plaster on those big receivers in Godwin and Evans so that Brady can have a little bit of rhythm? That's going to be, something to watch out, I think, early in the game. But for me, I'm really looking at the safeties for the Kansas City Chiefs. If they can come up, if Tyrann Mathieu can come up, be an extra linebacker or be an extra pass rusher against Tom Brady, I just don't like the Buccaneers moving forward, because now they can score. They have a lot of weapons, but, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu, the interior defensive linemen for the Chiefs, I think, have such an ability to close out games when it's necessary to flip the ball back to Mahomes. And we saw that last year, especially whenever they were down in the AFC divisional and conference championship, when they needed to come back, and they put the ball in Mahomes' hands, and he was able to kind of close the distance and win the games early. But if we see this game Sunday as a reflection of what happened in Week 12, the Chiefs jumped out early, 17-0. The game was ended 27-14 or 27-24, but the Buccaneers didn't have a shot. They were completely manhandled from the jump when that game got started due to Tyreek Hill's ability to run away from defenders. Now, I don't know if Mahomes was injured with his foot at that time, but I don't see how Mahomes can slow down at all moving forward. And with Tom Brady, I don't see how he can get the ball out fast enough. Now, Antonio Brown has been upgraded to a full participant in practice today, so that means he'll probably play 100% on Sunday. And if the screen game gets going, Scotty Miller across the middle gets going, it's going to be tight. But for some reason, the pressure by the Kansas City Chiefs defense is going to be, I believe, the biggest asset for them to move forward going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With that being said, James, what do you like about Tampa? What's one thing you like about Tampa, and what's one thing you like about Kansas City in this matchup?
Well, one thing about Tampa is, of course, Tom Brady. He impressed me against the Packers, although I feel like Aaron Rodgers had a better game. I feel like the Packers defense gave up a whole lot against them. They fucked up against them.
Are you being a homer with that statement, or are you just being... I know you're going to pull for your boy AR-12. I get it.
Yeah.
But AR-12 had two picks he couldn't do nothing with.
Yeah, exactly. But, I like Brady, naturally. A lot of people don't like Tom Brady, but I like Tom Brady. I feel like he puts a lot of work in to get to where he's gotten.
He's a winner.
Yeah. And I look forward to telling my kids when they get older and stuff. Yeah, man, I grew up watching Tom Brady play football along with Peyton Manning, along with Aaron Rodgers. Yep. Yeah, so it's I like to take in what I'm seeing at the moment, because I hear about guys like Roger Staubach, Warren Moon, other greats that I didn't get to grow up seeing.
Troy Aikman.
Yeah, I hear him every fucking Sunday. Oh my God! But
is that from the family? You hear Troy Aikman?
Commentary. Troy Buck.
But Troy doesn't toot his own horn on air.
I guess I'm just biased that he's a.
You're hearing what you want to hear is what you're selling me.
What's his name? Buck. Joe Buck.
Joe Buck.
Yeah, there you go. Troy. I call him Troy Buck.
I mean, they're a little friendly on air, aren't they? They're a little friendly, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little too friendly.
Yeah, on the Kansas City side, Mahomes, it's hard to. He's young. He's mobile. He brings the energy. He's he's scrambling out of the pocket. He's a threat.
He's a guy,
and he's got weapons all around him. Dish it off or to throw it deep. So it's going to be hard to combat that. But I think that the Bucks defense are, they can bring it. But I don't know. That's what's going to make it a good game. I'm just going now. If I were placing bets, that's a different story. I'm gonna have to sit down.
Well, we're gonna talk about that in the last segment. Before we get there, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll take a 5-minute break on this time. I'm gonna let James finish his thought when we come back. But I'm gonna ask for your pick. And if somebody magically gifted you money and you were magically in an area where it was legal to gamble, I'm gonna ask you for your pick. So when we come back, that'll be there. I'm going to. I don't know what I'm gonna do in the break. I'm gonna figure it out though. But we'll be back.
Was I on or was I off?
We're on.
Welcome back, y'all. I didn't hear myself in my headset. Was just kind of looking through Twitter real quick, and Andrew Siciliano, he's a member of the NFL Network, and he sat down and had a conversation with Arthur Blank, and I thought this was kind of interesting, noteworthy, definitely noteworthy. And he had a conversation with Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, and we know that they have, especially if you follow fantasy football, you know that the outstanding receivers that they have in Atlanta. And with that being said, Arthur Blank is quoted as saying, because of all the quarterback movement, he was quoted as saying Arthur Blank tells Andrew Siciliano that he'd be completely shocked if Matt Ryan wasn't a member of the Atlanta Falcons. And the same thing goes for Julio Jones. They'll both be with us moving forward. And so I kind of saw that, and it's like, what type of deals have probably been sent towards Atlanta, maybe from Houston, to see if maybe they can offset some of that draft capital that the Falcons have to bring over, especially with that big contract that Matt Ryan has. Houston probably can absorb it, but the draft picks and Julio is probably what they want. You know, it's like, let's bring Matt Ryan and Julio as a package to Houston and maybe a number one, and we'll give you Deshaun Watson.
I don't know what's been up. What's up with Atlanta? Like, I feel like they have a lot of talent. Like, I mean, Matt Ryan's been my fantasy quarterback, like, I think 2 of the last 3 years. And
did you win?
All right.
Okay.
They produce, like, well, actually this year he sucked, but Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones, they used to have Roddy White. Say what you want about him, but
Ridley now.
Yeah, and then this year, how the fact that they're up by however many points, and it's almost a fact that they're gonna give up the lead. Like, what the fuck?
It sounds like the Houston Texans to me.
Yeah,
that's
true.
exactly what it sounds like. And I think that they kind of see those two franchises. They probably see themselves as mirrors of themselves, and they're like, we can get rid of our disgruntled player in Deshaun Watson with the Houston Texans, and we're like, yeah, but we can do numbers with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, and so that may be something that we will never ever hear about unless it's in a book after Arthur Blank passes, and he talks about the time when Cal McNair and the Houston Texans tried to deal Deshaun Watson to Atlanta. And I think he'd be really happy in Atlanta. I think Deshaun would. It'd be close to where he grew up. He's from Georgia. And so this is probably Arthur Blank probably telling the Houston Texans indirectly, like, we're not doing a deal. And so that's kind of one of those things where these guys at the NFL Network, if they're reporting it, there's probably a reason why they're putting it out there so that the individuals who need to hear the message will get it. And so that kind of just leaves you, as we're tying up from the beginning of the hour with Deshaun Watson, it kind of just seems like Deshaun probably wants Miami, and Houston knows that, but they can't get a fair deal with Miami because they know that's where Deshaun wants to go. So now it's like San Francisco, New York. I'm sure the Jets would be elated if he went up there to join them. That means that Houston would probably get Sam Darnold and 2 1s and maybe 2 2s. I mean, that's just kind of where if you go off of the Matt Stafford deal, you're kind of just looking at that. But the deal that gets done for Deshaun Watson is going to be earth-shattering, similar to, and I was probably 5 when it happened, when Herschel Walker got dealt, when he dealt to the Vikings from Dallas, and Dallas got all that draft capital to pretty much build the dynasty for a few years until Jerry Jones' ego got involved and fired Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, I said it. I mean, y'all know it. But I kind of feel for Deshaun a little bit, man. You kind of just ask yourself, it's like, I don't feel sorry for him as far as like the lifestyle he's living or being a quarterback, but it's like you were just straight up lied to by your organization. They just would say like, yeah, we're going to have you involved in all these decision makings, and then they go do it behind your back, and now you're like, well, I mean, why would I believe anybody else in the NFL again? If y'all are going to be the example, if y'all are pretty much my first experience, you're probably going to have that doubt in the back of your mind the whole time. And for someone like Deshaun Watson, that guy really doesn't kind of deserve that aspect of it. But you can't cry too much for him because he's a multimillionaire, fantastic athlete, overall good dude. But to be dealt that kind of hand makes sense why he's playing hardball with his agent right now.
Yeah, I feel like there's guys though that you're like, like we can say about J.J. Watt, like, dude, he deserves to go off and play for a championship team, with the hard work that we know that he's put in. Also because of the fact that he's a good guy with his actions that he's shown. He's won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Like,
I'm sure he's won it, yeah.
Yeah. So, without discussing all of the money, the guy, like, you don't want him to end up ringless at the end of the year with all the hard work, that he's put in.
Go to Kansas City.
So, yeah, it's interesting. It's not like, hey, shut up, play for us. Here's a lot of money. You don't have no say in it. Just be glad you're making the money.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans get caught up in that. It's like, well, they should, just like Brett Favre said, just shut up and play is nearly what that's practically what he said in the first half of that quote. But then at the same time, if you look at what they've done for the community, and that's kind of something that I kind of take into consideration. It's like, if you're an asshole and you're just screwing up in that community, I could care less what happens to you. But if you're playing well and you're dominating your position and you're also giving back simultaneously, it's like, yeah, I'm going to pull a little harder for you. I'm going to cheer a little bit more for that guy because what he's giving back. And for us in Texas, it's pretty evident what we saw J.J. Watt do when those hurricanes came through and organizing and fundraising as much money as he did voluntarily. He didn't have to do that. He started with a small number and it grew exponentially. So shout out to him for doing all that for the citizens of Texas. Yeah, it's like, do you think this, like, you kind of think about Deshaun and you're like, you kind of hope he gets what he wants. Like, he's real fond of Bob Salah, the head coach in New York. And it's like, man, I hope he goes there and I hope he does well.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of sad too, because I feel like he wants to be in Houston.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I feel like now, obviously, he's like, that's no longer an option.
Right.
Now, what do we do? And so it's kind of sad, but hey, like, shit happens, man.
Right.
Are you looking forward to or are you wondering when that notification is going to drop? Breaking news: Houston Texans deal quarterback.
God, I hope it doesn't happen like the Stafford deal. And you know what? It might. But wouldn't that be some shit if it happened Saturday at 11:30 p.m. the night before the Super Bowl?
Oh, that'd be shit.
Oh, that would be horrible. Like, the NFL would be like, Roger Goodell's going to call into, I don't know, whoever the insider guys, Schefter or Pelissero or, Rap Report, and be like, fellas, let's drop this news on Monday after the Super Bowl because it's going to mess with all of our. But do you think it would mess with the ratings or improve the ratings?
I think people are going to tune in regardless.
Like, the people who are going to watch are probably already going to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you kind of think about yourself. It's like, if the folks who are like the casual fan, like, I'm here for the commercials. Why? Okay. Those kind of folks. Do you think it would be like more drama to see, like, oh, Deshaun Watson got traded to the Patriots, and then that storyline merges with Tom Brady's storyline, and now it's like Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick before Tom even gets to play that 10th Super Bowl? That's how it could be, I think, extra dramatic and a benefit. But
how do you think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick's relationship is?
I think they fucking hate each other.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Tom Brady, you got to remember, Tom Brady's 43 years old. He was with them since he was like 21 until 42.
That's a stepdaddy.
Bro, you kind of ask yourself, it's like, Tom, and I think Tom needed it. Like, I think Tom needed to have, like, a hard coach who told him how bad he was and every little mistake he committed to make him what he is today. Because if Tom did not have Bill Belichick doing what he did to him for 20 plus years, he would not be the GOAT. He wouldn't be playing in 10 Super Bowls. He wouldn't have 6 rings. He'd just be another guy who was drafted 199th. And
He would be what he was supposed to be by looking at his combine stats.
yeah, that is a little misleading. That was a gross misevaluation because they didn't evaluate his mental toughness, I think. It's like you can evaluate the measurables all day long, but the intangibles,
How do you measure that?
that's a good question. One thing I think that stands out is when Tom Brady was drafted, Tom Brady went up to Robert Kraft, and he goes, "I'll never let you down." And when he told Robert Kraft that, I think that's something how you can measure an intangible, is that everybody who passed on Tom,
The 198 opportunities that people missed. Tom took it within himself to say, we're going to work until, we're starting. And when Drew Bledsoe got hurt and he stepped in and won a Super Bowl, granted it was done off of the leg of Vinatieri. You still can't dismiss that he was the quarterback and he turned the page, and everybody's going to argue with every Super Bowl he won, but at the end of the day, he has the hardware. But yeah, I don't think. Are they going to be professional when they encounter each other? Yeah, sure, but I mean, there's a reason Tom Brady didn't stick around in New England because he was tired of the bullshit. I mean, I really think that's how it was. And with Tom Brady being now in Tampa Bay, and we talked about how if you had the funds available and you were in Vegas, let's say you fly to Vegas Saturday and you're in Vegas for the Super Bowl and you're in line at the sports book and the spread is -3 for Kansas City. That means Kansas City has to win by 4 or more, or Tampa Bay is +3, which means they can lose by 3, or they have to lose by less than 3. So where would you put your money? Or you put on the money line.
I guess if it came to money, because that's where, put your money where your mouth is. And if I'm being honest, I think I'd roll with Kansas City.
Now, are you going to roll with Kansas City to cover the spread or the money line? The money line, I think, is like -165. So the way you factor that is if you have $100, you're going to do 100 divided by 1.65. That means if you bet $100 and you put it on Kansas City, you'll make $60.61. But if you take the Buccaneers, and I think the Buccaneers right now are, I want to say, I'm going to pull it up real quick. I want to say they're +145, but I'm going to double check real quick on ESPN as soon as it pulls up. Let's see, give me a second.
Did you hear that one guy who he puts like really large bets? He's like some old dude. He's like a gambling. I really don't know. He has a name, but he puts a lot. And I think he put like $3 million on the Bucks.
$3 million.
Did you hear about that? Or
No,
no?
I haven't seen that.
I'll look it up real quick.
So if you put $100 on the Buccaneers money line, you would make 145. And so those are the two things. Like if you bet 100 on KC, you'll make 60 plus your 100 back. And if you bet on the Buccaneers, you'll make 145 plus your 100 back. And this dude put $3 million.
Yeah, right here. Houston Furniture Store owner bets $3.5 million that Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will pull off upset versus Chiefs. Super Bowl 55's largest wager.
So that you're telling me he's gonna lay $3.5 million. If he wins, he's gonna win $5.075 million plus his 3.5.
His name is
The furniture guy,
Jim Mattress Mac.
the Mattress Mac, yeah. Mattress Mac laid $3.5 million.
Yeah.
You got to be shitting me.
Yeah.
So if the Buccaneers win, he's gonna walk away with a total of $5.075 million in profit, plus his initial contribution of $3.5
Over 10
million. Oh my God. $8.575 million. So
Um,
where are you going, James?
with my $5?
With your $5, Buster, where are you going?
Man, if I'm betting, it's gonna go on KC. I think they're gonna win by more than 3. But I'm pulling for Tom Brady. I want to see the 7th. I want to see it. I want to
Let
see
him get it next year, like Peyton did. Peyton got it in his second year.
Who's
in-
to say
in
he's
Denver.
gonna be as good as
Bro,
Not that he
they're-
was good this year, but I mean, I think he caught fire. He knows the system. He knows football.
That
He
team-
knows when you got to get hot.
That team is going to be so much better next year.
True.
They're going to have they didn't have off season. They didn't have OTAs. They didn't have preseason. That team next year, like they're hitting their groove. They hit their groove against Washington in the wild card. They hit it, but I don't think they're ready to beat Kansas City yet.
Defending Super Bowl
But
champs.
next year, man, they're going to be a scary, scary team to beat. With that being said, I'm going to put my money if that money line gets to 150 minus 150 for the Chiefs, bro, there's gonna be a lot of people putting money down. And if I had to lean, I'm running with the Chiefs. And the reason I asked you is because James is gonna be celebrating tomorrow, birthday in his family, so he'll be out tomorrow. Producer James will be back. Papa Romeo will probably be in studio helping me run the boards tomorrow. But I wanted to kind of get your sense of that. So we'll note that $5, James, and we'll see if your $5 will win you. Let's see. Your $5 will win you $3.03 plus your $5, so $8.03 will be coming back to James if he pulls the.
I can get a value meal at McDonald's.
Hey man, that's a number 6.
Yeah.
10-piece chicken nuggets with a Coke, double barbecue sauce. Make sure you put it in a bag. Sometimes they forget, don't they?
Dude, my girl gets pissed off.
Does
One
she
of the
go
things that-
inside? Oh, you can't go inside.
She puts a pressure on me. She's like, she doesn't tell me like, hey, go in there and tell him, but she's like, they didn't give me my fucking sauce, and she just like looks over at me like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I know she wants me to go back. So next time I'm going back.
Yeah, I bet you better go back. Married life problems. They're not really problems. James, what are you leaving with the people with for the first week of the Paul Rodriguez show? What are you gonna leave them with?
What am I gonna leave them with? Man, y'all tuned in to tomorrow to the Paul Rodriguez show.
Nice.
I like this. I like talking sports.
Mm-hmm.
I like sports. Yeah, y'all tune in tomorrow. Y'all tune in Saturday to Dark Side of the Mic.
Nice.
Saturday on 6:30. We're going 6:30ish here on YouTube or on Facebook, whatever you prefer. And looking forward to getting back here Monday, recapping the game,
Yep.
and also jumping ahead early and
Early.
putting our Super Bowl picks for next year. Way too early picks for next year.
Man, that's like super duper too early.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. I like that idea. That's something we're definitely probably going to talk about because
Kind of close.
it'll change after where Deshaun lands.
Yeah.
It'll definitely change, but we'll get a good sense of. I mean, hell, it might be KC Bucks 2.0.
Yeah. I think it's fun. Just cover your eyes, throw the dart, see where it lands. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in to our show this Thursday. It's getting better, right? I think you could say it's probably getting a little bit better. Again, we'll be having guests come in probably after next week. We just want to make sure we get some content out for everybody and have those, get a little reputation, get that rep up, right? Got to make sure we got to put that proper respect on our name. But thank y'all very much for tuning in tonight. We'll be back mañana as Papa Romeo. Him and I will probably get into a little bit of banter. We do good. I mean, the elder statesman, you got to keep respect, but you also got to put him in his place sometimes. Just saying. All right, man. This show's done. We're out.